quick question. So, years ago, about 1994, I went to the Nation of Islam because being young, black, and in college, I saw disparities in the education system that bothered me. I saw how a lot of black men in the college classrooms sat at the back of the class and were too either afraid or embarrassed to sit up front to be class participants. So I gravitated toward the Nation of Islam. But when I got in there, this is what I saw. I saw the brothers sit on one side. I saw the sisters sit on the other side. And I liked that. And I wanted to know more, and I was excited. But then I had cats come out to me and show me a brochure, and it was a brochure of a guy named Yakub, the big head scientist. So I asked a lot of brothers in there, I said, do you believe that? Can you? Because I really want to understand. And not, let me just say this something. Not one of them Negroes in the mosque could explain it to me. And they still can't. So can you explain to with all due respect, it's mythological. Right. So my point is this, bro. Islam has a sense of order. I give them that, right? But the thing that you have around your neck, it represent the crescent moon and the star. Do you understand its ancient origin?
Yeah.
What is the ancient origin?
The sun, the moon, and the stars.
All right. So but so do you know what God says about the stars, the suns, and the moon? I got to share this with you. Give me Sirach chapter 42, I believe it is. I want to show you because listen, like Officer Solomon said, Islam is not the way. And this is how I know, because I like Farrakhan. I like the way he speaks. And the only time he ever make any sense is when Farrakhan quote the Bible, because you'll never see him at a national event quote the Quran. He don't do that. This is why we know Farrakhan is not going to give up his position of a multi-millionaire. If he comes out and denounces Islam and the truth that he knows where the Israelites, he'll lose his funding. They still let him go on national TV because they know he's keeping the people lost still. This is what the Lord said about the stars and the moon. I want you to take, because I sat in that for a while. And they had me more confused, but I like the black straw. I did like that. It is confusion, it's wrong. And Farrakhan knows it. Farrakhan gonna be judged if he don't repent. I'm telling you, bro. You gotta get out of that damn mosque. It's a devil place, brother. Read.
Sirach chapter 43 verse 6.
Watch this.
He made the moon also to serve in her season.
So the moon, God made to serve in her season. The moon, that crescent moon, is a part of what they call waxing and waning. Are you familiar with the waxing and waning? So the moon is represented for us because we have a day called the new moon. And the white man, what he does is he demonizes and creates a label with werewolf and mysticism. You ever notice how the werewolves come out only on the new moon?
Hollow on the moon.
Right. Howl. But how right? But the new moon is a time of a season for us to know about our holy days. Read on.
For a declaration of times.
To declare times is this. Oh, shoot.
Wait. Run that
yes,
back.
Sir.
What you said about the new moon and it's for what?
Say again? I don't understand.
The new moon is a new time for
the new moon is a holy day. Okay? And it's a time for seasons. For example, on the 14th day of the first month, lets you know that it's the first new moon of the spring season. So our high holy days like Passover, like tabernacles, are based upon the moon. So the moon is made for us as a symbol to keep holy days. And what I'm showing you is that, like Solomon did a great job. Listen, Islamic people were black, but there are many different black races, many of them. We are the 12 tribes of Israel. We are a race that was enslaved because we broke God's laws. And what I'm showing you, bro, listen, a lot of us have walked in Islam.
Bring it out.
Islam has a nice superficial order. I got to give him that. And Farrakhan is a smooth brother with his words. Farrakhan makes points that are noteworthy when he uses the Bible, when he quotes Revelation, when he quotes things about Isaiah. That's the only time he gets attention. But because he will not come out and denounce Islam, because Islam was taught to us by the Arabs in slavery. Understand that the Arabs don't like you, bro. Here's the other thing. I used to ask the brothers in the mosque, yo, where the Arabs at? And they said, we are separate from the Arabs. I said, okay, so you got an Arab that comes and checks on y'all? Not one of them. The Nation of Islam is a de facto movement from the regular Shiite and Sunni Muslim. It had nothing to do with that, bro. And it was taught by a man named, you got that, Farrakhan Muhammad? So when you go into Elijah Muhammad was a brother, right? Elijah Muhammad learned the Nation of Islam religion from a white man named Farrakhan Muhammad.
But I thought he learned it from Noble Jew Ali.
Say again?
Noble Jew Ali.
Noble Jew Ali. Okay, so let's go that route, right? Who did Jeru Ali? Who did he learn it from?
He learned it from this black.
Really?
He was a
Pan-African. You talking about Marcus Garvey? So you're saying Marcus Garvey taught that brother who taught, right? Well, you learned incorrectly. Marcus Garvey was about Pan-Africanism. Right. Marcus Garvey was on some crazy. That brother was on point. He wanted to form a separate black nation back in Africa. Right. And they set him up. He was all about, he didn't want any white folks involved in the movement. Right. And he was set up on some mail fraud, some BS, right? But the Nation of Islam has its origin, whatever we say, let's say I'm wrong and you're wrong. We can agree it has its origin based upon Islamic or Arabs. Can we agree to that? Yeah. Okay, now, that's what I'm going to show you. Let me finish this before you go. Read.
He made the moon also to serve in a season.
So the moon serves the Israelites. So when it comes out, I know, oh shoot, it's almost a full moon. Guess what? The new moon's coming up. You understand? If it's a crescent moon, I know that I'm about halfway through the month. That's a tracking for us, for the Israelites. Read on.
For a declaration of times.
To declare the times when your holy days were. Now the Sabbath is irrespective. The Sabbath was the seventh day, which moves at a different schedule than the moon. All right, read on.
And the sign of the world.
And it's a sign of the world of the Jews, the Israelites. Now, get me the book of Jeremiah chapter 2 or 3, as I sitting. So this is the point I want to share with you.
Joseph.
So this is the point I want to share with you. And I definitely appreciate you, brother. Whether or not it came through Farrakhan Muhammad or the brother you said went to Garvey, they got the conceptualization for the ideology from Arabs. That's a fact you cannot deny. And by the way, which we go back historically, Muhammad was and I'm not disrespecting, because he's a brown race too. Muhammad was what they had during the time, it was called a camel jockey. He would bring different goods and services to different parts, and the camels was like a taxi.
It was like a train.
Right, so he learned to speak to different groups, and he was good, he was a good orator. Right. And he was actually, with all due respect, he was illiterate, because I don't want to shame no man. But here's the deal. He got the idea, because before that, the Arabs believed in 360 gods, 366 gods. He got the idea from your forefathers, the real Jews, that the belief in monotheism, which is the belief in one God. And then they chose that one God, Allah, out of all the other gods. They chose that. It's confusion, bro. The God of, and that happened, by the way after Jesus Christ died. So Islam was concerned about going to one God following your ancestry. And it is a new religion on the earth. It is not ancient. Islam is not ancient. Okay? The laws of God date back thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. Now, what do you got? Read, watch this. Before you go.
Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 2.
And by the way, brother, I'm happy you're here. Because we got to understand, a lot of us came out of the Nation of Islam. A lot of us came out of black fraternities. Because even in a black fraternity, you see black structure. They step together, right? All of that. And a lot of us go in gangs because we see some sort of symbolism of structure. The reality is, when you go through this Bible, like Officer Solomon did, Paul who is the most talked about figure in the New Testament, he's black, and I can prove it. Moses, who is probably the most popular figure in the Old Testament, he's black, we can prove it. The Messiah, we just proved it. The Messiah is what you would call blue-black. I'm super fair-skinned, you light-skinned compared to Jesus. You understand that? But that's powerful. Read.
Lift up thine eyes unto the high places.
What are we reading? We're reading the prophet Jeremiah, who the honorable Reverend, what's his name? Farrakhan often goes to the prophet Jeremiah. But what he fails to mention is Jeremiah was it was a Jew. And Jeremiah was a prophet who warned Israel of things that would come and things they had to do before the Babylonian captivity. Jeremiah prophesied like we're prophesying now. Read.
And see where thou hast not been lying with.
Jeremiah is speaking about a time in history when our people laid down for a certain race. Read it again.
Lift up thine eyes unto the high places.
The high places are like when you go to different cities, the high places of worship back then where they had different gods. Jeremiah is shown, he said, read it again.
Lift up thine eyes unto the high places.
He said, you see them high places up there? Those are places of worship. Read.
And see where thou hast not been lying with.
Lying with is when you lay down for them and you succumb this. For example, a lot of black people are leaving the so-called Christian church because they realize it's a lie.
Bring it up.
Pass the collection plate around, read one scripture, jump up and down, and women lead the church. Brothers realize that's not the truth. And they use the Bible. But the real Jews are the men of God teaching like this. So Jeremiah's like, look, remember when you brothers laid down? He's going to tell you, read.
In the ways hast thou sat for them.
And in the ways of those high places, we sat down. When you sit down to other men, what is your position? If I sit down in front of you, what is my position in front of you? I'm a student. I'm humbling myself. And we did that. Those high places of ideology, we sat down. Watch who it says, read.
In the ways hast thou sat for them.
Sat for who? We sat for them. Read.
As the Arabian.
As who?
As the Arabian in the wilderness.
There were times when we fled Jerusalem. In 70 AD, we fled Jerusalem. There were times, remember when, I don't know if you're familiar with history, Jerusalem was a black city run by Jews, the real Jews. When Rome in 70 AD fought us a war of attrition for many years, they cut off water to our city. Christ warned us, you got to flee to the mountains. That's why we left and went down south from Israel, because we could blend in Egypt. We could blend in the Congo. We could blend in Africa. Christ warned us about that. But watch this, read it again.
As the Arabian in the wilderness.
Come on.
And thou hast polluted the land.
So that's what happened. We learned from the Arabians, we sat for them. We humbled our spirits to their ideologies, which is that during that time, this is before Islam became one God. This is way before that. This was the time when the Arabs had a God for every day of the week. Now, because Muhammad, who was actually a smart guy, he said, this Arab crap that we've been learning, one God for a day, this is wrong. He said, those men are the Jews. Those Israelites, they got the right idea. That's why Farrakhan must use the Bible to be validated. The Quran is a literary work that is a compilation of different stories, parts of the Bible, and other literary works. It is a book that's bound together. The truths are from biblical points. Like, for example, the Nation of Islam, and a lot of them don't do this, they're supposed to not eat pork. Do you know why? Because they got it from the Bible. Muhammad, they kept certain laws. Give me that law, Leviticus 11. Also, a man of Islam, and there's some differences even in the Nation of Islam. You're supposed to have a beard on your face. Why? Why? Because of the Bible. So I was around brothers, we had an ongoing joke. Final call, bean pies and lies. Because you see brothers with the bow tie, smooth face, but then some of the other brothers got a beard. Why don't you have a beard like him? And they would not eat pork, or they would sell drugs to the other people who were not in Islam. So the other black men who were Christian, they'll sell drugs to them, but not your Islamic brother. That's the confusion in Islam, bro. We came out of that, bro.
Bring it out.
The truth is, read that, come on.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7.
So why, remember Ice Cube? Ice Cube was involved in that for a while. Ice Cube said, I never eat a pig because a pig don't. Because Ice Cube was telling you he don't mess with pork. He told you that back in the early 90s when he rapped. Remember he was part of NWA? Ice Cube had a record where he talked about not eating pork. Right? A lot of people missed that. Watch this, read.
And the swine, though he divide the hoof.
So this is talking about the swine. This was in theater and understanding during the time of Moses. Moses predates the gods of Islam by very far. Read.
And be cloven footed.
So a pig, read it again, sorry.
And the swine.
That's a pig. Whether you call it a boar, a domesticated hog, a wild bull, whatever name the swine. This is why God says we're not supposed to eat. This is why they don't eat it in Islam. But even in that, some brothers, they'll eat pork. Because a lot of them don't even believe what they're in. They really don't. I'm telling you that. Because I was one of them. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, I really want to understand Yakud. I really want to understand it. And brothers would tell me this. Don't worry about that. That's just a story. You're here because you want to be here. And I'm like, but wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to all be on the same page? Because I really wanted that to be my home.
Right.
It's not my home. It's a confusion for black men, bro. Read.
And the swine, though he divide the hoof.
So this pig divides the hoof. He's got a hoof that is actually divided. Watch, read on.
And be cloven footed.
And meaning cloven is a hard. If you saw a wild boar come down this concrete, it actually would make noise. Like a dog's paw is soft. You don't hear it, right? But a pig and a horse, they have a cloven foot. Read on.
Yet he cheweth not the cud.
So the Most High God of Israel, thousands of years before the introduction of Farrakhan, of Muhammad, of the God, of the belief of Arabs having one God, way before that. Read it again.
Yet he cheweth not the cud.
Because this animal does not chew the cud. Like, you're a smart brother. You know a cows chew the cud, a sheep chew the cud. It's a filtration and a digestive process.
Break down the food in your...
Exactly. You on point. Read on.
He is unclean to you.
So the God of the Bible gave us laws way before even the Babylonian captivity. We had these laws before the belief in Islam as being one God was even a thought process. Okay, that's what we're trying to show you. Now, real quick, before you go, I'm going to show you. You hear the name Moses. Moses is spoken about in Islamic temples. Moses is, they call him Moshe. You heard?
It was Musa.
Some people say Moshe, some people say Musa, some people different things, right? If I grew up in Spain, if I grew up in Mexico, I'm gonna pronounce it different than a brother that goes in Haiti. So who's right? Is the Haitian right in his French pronunciation? Or is the brother that's in Veracruz, Mexico, is he right with his Spanish? Or are you right with your English? All of us have been scattered throughout slavery. That's why brothers will look just like you in Brazil right now and don't know, they don't call him Yeshua. They have a different Portuguese name they call him.
Right.
Read, what you got? Exodus chapter 2, verse 20 about water the flock, okay? I'm going to show you, before you leave, Moses, I'm telling you, brother, the real Jews are black. Moses is described as black. I'm going to prove it to you right now. So the other thing you got to understand is that we can go into the Bible and share things that you need to know and show you what are the steps. The Quran doesn't show you the steps to get, it does not. I tried, it does not. The Bible, this is what you have to do. You have to put fringes on your garment.
Right.
You have to grow your beard out. You
Right.
cannot eat swine.
Right.
You must honor the Sabbath.
I don't eat swine.
Beautiful, all praises. But the point is, with God and truly serving the one true God, there's certain things that you must do.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation